And welcome to this week's preview of the Rocket Mortgage Classic. I hope you all had a good week at the 3M Open. Certainly provided some fireworks there at the end with Scott Piercy kind of falling apart on the back nine and Tony Finau running away with it. A little disappointed that I wasn't on Finau. He's obviously from Utah, been a big fan of his for a long time. So to not be there for his win, I mean, I had some exposure in MME, but certainly not enough. It didn't have him in my main lineup or on my betting card. But we turn the page to this week. We have the Detroit Golf Club. It's a par 72, measures over 7,300 yards. It looks fairly long on paper, but that's just not the case. I mean, when you have four par fives and then four decently long par threes, that's gonna really cut into that yardage. There are actually four par fours that measure less than 400 yards. The par fives, three of them should be reachable by most of the field. The fourth one is well over 600 yards, so probably not going to see a lot of people get there in two. It's a Donald Ross design, plays one of the easiest courses on the PGA Tour rotation. We've seen it 3 times now. This will be the 4th year in a row that they have hosted this event. And it is a bomber-friendly course. The wide fairways certainly help. The fact that there's not a huge penalty for missing the fairways certainly helps. And the average driving distance here is over 295 yards, so one of the highest on the PGA Tour. The greens here are fairly small, yet they are still easy to hit. We've seen golfers hit them at a 75% clip over the last 3 years. Again, one of the highest on the PGA Tour. There's only water hazards on one of the holes, so unlike last week, this course has very little defense when it comes to these professionals. I expect a lot of low scores this week. In terms of the grass type, we got a mix of bent and POA on both the greens and on the fairways. I think there's more POA than bent. But I'm just kind of using a mix of both for my putting splits this week. The 3 winners here: Cam Davis, Bryson DeChambeau, Nate Lashley. So the first two, really long off the tee, make a lot of birdies. Lashley, not the longest off the tee, but he can get red hot with his irons. Also a guy that makes a lot of birdies. So I think you're going to have to target those guys that can attack pins, that don't mind being aggressive off the tee. I like distance over accuracy for sure this week. A couple comps that I'm looking at long and easy courses. I'm looking at Donald Ross designed courses. And then the 2 individual courses that I picked out for comps, I looked at TPC River Highlands and Silverado. I think they kind of make some sense. Similar in terms of difficulty, similar in terms of the grass type on the greens. So I'm looking at, pretty big weight to off the tee this week, pretty big weight to approach. I think ball striking is important, which is obviously just a combination of off the tee and approach. Bumped up birdie or better percentage in the model. Bumped down bogey avoidance and strokes gained around the green, because if you're making bogeys, you're probably not going to be winning. And if you're having to scramble a lot, you're probably not going to be in contention. So kind of bumped those down, bumped up putting because the greens are easy to hit. Generally, when you have a high green regulation rate, it tends to turn into a putting contest. So in a birdie fest, I think you are going to want those guys that can make some putts. Again, 3 years of course history to work with. These are the comps that I talked about a minute ago. So guys that love Donald Ross courses, for instance, Webb Simpson, Jason Day, Sabatini, Kirk, Ryan Moore. I read a quote from Brandt Snedeker saying the only reason he played this event was because he loved Donald Ross design. So I did include that in the model, very small weight. And then obviously the form stats. If you want to target more upside, you can bump up the top 5 and top 10% finish rates. If you want to target, safety, you can do cut percentage. I also have a field strength index, which is not included in most models. So it accounts for how strong the fields are that golfers have been playing in, which I think is very important. And that should just about do it for the week. Highly recommend you guys signing up for RG Premium. The Discord alone is worth it. I mean, I got everyone on Tom Hoagie last week. There were sandwich GIFs flying right and left, a couple days leading up to the tournament. And then right when it teed off, Hoagie played well. We were just having a great time the entire week, and a lot of sharp people in there as well, just talking strategy, both from a player selection standpoint, what to do in terms of different tournament types, how to chase high-end finishes, all that kind of stuff. So that's a lot of fun. You get access to this. You can customize the model any way you like it. You get access to the rankings, the articles, the bets, pretty much anything you could ever need for Pga Dfs. So best of luck this week at the Rocket Mortgage Classic, and we'll see you back here next week.